Hey everyone, welcome to Soulfish. I am super glad you're here. It's July 16th, 2019, and I wanted to share with you what I'm being shown, what I'm being told. I want to help you to work through some of this lunar eclipse energy. The moon is one of the strongest influences energetically on this planet, on its own accord. And this is a time where you're really stepping into this next leg of your journey. This is a whole new story emerging for you. And this energy that you're feeling right now, this for some of us, it's like a throwing up, right? Where someone is just, you're having a conversation and they bring up a particular point, and almost out of nowhere in you, like a stream of consciousness, right? Almost out of nowhere, you start throwing up other stuff that might have a negative implication. So in the nicest way possible, they might be sharing with you, hey, I really love this and this, and do you remember, this specifically? And from that point you go, yeah, and do you also remember on that same day this happened? And all of a sudden you kind of purge this kind of like negative experience, or or whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? That's what's going on. Why? Because this energy we're in is really trying to say to you, you cannot take this stuff forward. Please. It's saying, please don't take this stuff forward with you, because it will cause you nothing but pain. Pain for no reason. There's so much a discussion on how do we avoid pain? How, I'm only going to look at the light. I'm not going to look in the dark because I don't like the way that makes me feel. So I'm not going to explore my dark side. I'm only going to try to stay in the light. I'm only going to be in that one place, right? You can't be. Do you know those globes where, they're glass, and you put your hand on it, and all of those electrical, lightning bolts, are all kind of touching your hands, and they're all touching your hand in different places, and it's all just continually moving, right? But no, it doesn't really go back and touch the same place again. And that's as if you're trying to stay on just one side or the other. In other words, you can't just live in the light because you're not completely light. And so what you're trying to do, what your purpose here, your pentultimate purpose here, is that you're supposed to elevate matter towards spirit. You're supposed to bring your second you higher towards your first you. You're not supposed to corrupt, bring down spirit, call that down into this place. That's not your purpose. That's your purpose on the dark side. That's not your purpose. If you're truly working for light, that's not your purpose, right? So you say to yourself, well, how do I affect that? How am I, quote unquote, fighting that? Well, it's not about you fighting something. It's about you developing that in yourself. And so you use the light side of you to help illuminate, right, the dark side of you. In the Tao, it says that what is a good man but a bad man's teacher? Now think about that. That's often thought about like outside, right? I see this other person, and in my judgment, which is judgment, right? But in my place, I'm saying, hey, somehow this person isn't coming from the right place, right? And so I externalize that and say, oh, I'm supposed to teach him. But the reality is, if you are the good man, then you recognize the bad man in you. And that is what you're teaching. So as you find your flaws, as you find the weeds in your garden, that is what you're supposed to be plucking, right? And so this lunar energy, let me wrap this up in this wonderful cosmic spiritual burrito for you, right? Like, so what you're trying to feel right now, what you're trying to assimilate is you're saying, hey, you recognize that this is a whole new story that you need new gear for. That you're starting off with some of the same characters, very few from the first story. And that's the continuity, right? That's the continuity from one book to the next. But the reality is, as you develop this second story, you're going to develop a whole new cast of characters, a whole new set of friends, new relationships, new opportunities. You're going to come across new challenges, new threats. It's a story, man. I mean, come on. You're not gonna, everyone spends so much fear in the unknown of like, oh, well, what if I turn this corner around the hill and there's a monster? Well, maybe there is. But I mean, if you knew exactly every step of the way, exactly how it was going to be, why would you? Right? So, this energy, use it. You've already been doing so much work, right? Use this energy now. Tonight, this is your time. Finally let go of all of this past stuff. And you'll be able to use these experiences without that pain. You'll be able to have this understanding of what you accomplished and what you didn't accomplish from book one. But you'll be able to leave the sadness and the despair and the pain and the anger and the resentment and all of these things that you felt like somehow you were cheated. All of those things that it could have been this way if it only had been that way, right? And the reality is it doesn't really matter the path you took. And I know that's hard to accept because you have blame. You say, oh, it's that person's fault or it's my fault, right? And that's a lot to carry. And you don't have to. You don't have to anymore. How can you? How can you possibly carry that into book 2? You don't have enough space in your pack to carry that for what you need going forward. Much love.